Okay, so today we have a 2005 Toyota 4Runner V6 4-liter engine, and we're going to change the oil. Why do we need to change the oil? We need a couple pair of gloves. We need 5.5 quarts of oil, and we're going to use Mobil because I like it. It's high mileage and it's 5W30, so we'll use that. We need an oil filter. And I'll show you guys the part here in a minute so that you can get it. We need a 14mm wrench and an oil filter wrench. So this is the skid plate of the 4Runner, and it goes to the second skid plate right here. And in the middle of the skid plate, there's a hole, an access point, and you can see right there, there is the oil drain plug. That's what we need to access. But because the space here is so short, we're gonna have to raise the car a little bit so that we can get in there. So before you eject the car, make sure that you put the emergency brakes on. The emergency brakes will lock in the rear wheels and will make sure the car doesn't roll on you when you're under it. Like that. So right there you can see I'm using the 14mm socket to take out the drain plug, and every about half a turn or so I will try to see if I can finish unscrewing it with my hand, and I will continue doing that until it comes out. When it does come out, the oil will come out all at one time, and it should be very dark and used, and the plug will normally go into the catch pan, so you'll have to fish it out. It should be about to come out right there. Alright, so now that the oil has drained for the most part out of the oil pan, I'm going to remove the oil catcher. And I'm just going to clean a little bit, just to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the plug back on. You got to be careful to not cross thread it, and it starts pretty easy with your hand. It can be hand tight, and then when it starts getting a little tough, then you can put a wrench to it. Now, the book tells you that you're supposed to put 36 pounds of torque. So I set the torque wrench to 40, and that should be sufficient. You don't want to get it too tight. You just want to get it to 40. There you go. And that should be sufficient. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the oil cap off. This guy right here is the oil cap, so we're going to get it out. And you can see right there that in the oil cap it tells you the type of oil you're supposed to use. You're supposed to use 5W30, which is what we got. Whoever put this filter last time sure was trying to get it tight. If you guys can see, there's a little hole there more than likely there's going to be a little bit of oil that is going to seep out. So I'm just going to get a couple paper towels in there so that it can absorb it. I don't think it'll be much because the car has been sitting this morning. So I think that's it. We can get it out by hand now. And it comes out with your hand. And there it is. Oh man. It's a good thing I have these towels there. Alright. Nasty oil filter out. Set it aside. After the oil filter comes out, it's pretty important that we clean the surface where the oil filter is going to go. That way we're going to get a better seal. We're not going to need so much torque to put it in, and it'll make it easier next time that we're trying to change it. What we're going to do is we're going to put just a little bit of oil on the new filter, and we're just going to make sure that it penetrates, that it's sealing around the gasket, and then we're just going to go ahead and put it in the filter, and it just basically screws on there. Now the way to screw this on is hand tight, and then hand tight to about half a turn. That way next time when we have to replace it, it's not going to be super jammed in there. There you go. That should be it. Now that we got all the old oil out of there, we got a new oil filter in place. We're going to put some new oil in it, and we're going to start with the 5 quarts. With the 5 quarts of oil. So we're going to fill the reservoir with new oil. So we got the 5 quarts, and now we're gonna put 1/2 of this. So this is 1 quart, so we're gonna try to get it down to about this spot. It's not quite there yet. And right there we're about 1/2 quart. If you can see, the oil's reaching this line, so we're gonna stop and try it out. So now we put the cap back on. Okay, let's see if the car starts. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is we're going to test the car. So we're gonna go ahead and get it started. We want to make sure that there's no oil coming out of any of the things that we replaced. So far it looks pretty clean right there and there. And we also want to take a look underneath the car to make sure that there's no oil that is continuing to leak, and that looks good. So the car is off the stands and everything seems to be working okay. The last thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a minute and we're going to check the oil level, make sure that we put enough oil in there. What we're going to do right after we drove the car, we changed the oil, we changed the filter, everything seems to be fine and there's no leaks. We want to make sure that we got enough oil in the case. So we're going to take the stick out, we're going to clean it, and we're going to measure. And we're just trying to make sure that we got enough oil. And you can see right there that we do. We got enough oil, it looks clean, it looks good. So we're going to put it back in there. The last thing that you want to do is to make sure that you collect all the old oil that you collect all the old oil and you take it to places like AutoZone or your city. They will dispose of the old oil, and that way you won't be harming the environment. So that's one good thing. It's one of the things why I like to deal with AutoZone. I'm not being paid for them or anything like that. I just like that they're environmentally conscious. So appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Today's episode of 4Runner Ninja is brought to you by wine. Because otherwise it would be work.
No. He's not sponsored, but he's just being a dummy.
Okay.
All right.
Enough. Just cut it out. Just cut it out.
All right.